There have been many different things written and said about marriage, from the sweetly inspirational to the hilariously cynical. But what many of them have in common is that they sound like they express a universal and timeless truth, when in fact, nearly everything about marriage, from its main purpose to the kinds of relationships it covers to the rights and responsibilities involved, has varied greatly between different eras, cultures, and social classes. So let's take a quick look at the evolution of marriage. Pair bonding and raising children is as old as humanity itself. With the rise of sedentary agricultural societies about 10,000 years ago, marriage was also a way of securing rights to land and property by designating children born under certain circumstances as rightful heirs. As these societies became larger and more complex, marriage became not just a matter between individuals and families, but also an official institution governed by religious and civil authorities. And it was already well established by 2100 BC, when the earliest surviving written laws in the Mesopotamian Code of Ur-Nammu provided many specifics governing marriage, from punishments for adultery to the legal status of children born to slaves. Many ancient civilizations allowed some form of multiple simultaneous marriage, and even today, less than a quarter of the world's hundreds of different cultures prohibit it. But just because something was allowed doesn't mean it was always possible. Demographic realities, as well as the link between marriage and wealth, meant that even though rulers and elites in ancient Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Israel had multiple concubines or wives, most commoners could only afford one or two, tending towards monogamy in practice. In other places, the tables were turned, and a woman could have multiple husbands, as in the Himalayan mountains, where all brothers in a family marrying the same woman kept the small amount of fertile land from being constantly divided into new households. Marriages could vary not only in the number of people they involved, but the types of people as well. Despite all these differences, a lot of marriages throughout history did have one thing in common. With crucial matters like property and reproduction at stake, they were way too important to depend on young love. Especially among the upper classes, matches were often made by families or rulers. But even for commoners who had some degree of choice, the main concern was practicality. The modern idea of marriage as being mainly about love and companionship only emerged in the last couple of centuries. With industrialization, urbanization, and the growth of the middle class, more people became independent from large extended families and were able to support a new household on their own. Encouraged by new ideas from the Enlightenment, people began to focus on individual happiness and pursuits rather than familial duty or wealth and status, at least some of the time. And this focus on individual happiness soon led to other transformations, such as easing restrictions on divorce and more people marrying at a later age. So as we continue to debate the role and definition of marriage in the modern world, it might help to keep in mind that marriage has always been shaped by society, and as a society's structure, values, and goals change over time, its ideas of marriage will continue to change along with them.
Solemn Day is a village in Togo, West Africa. Its residents, members of the Kodakoli tribe, practice Islam. Here, a woman's main role is to serve her husband. And Islam's tolerance of polygamy, the practice of taking more than one spouse at the same time, is in line with many African traditions. Chugadoma Pumpuni is about to wed his third wife. The elaborate ceremony will last 3 days. Many African cultures let a man wed as many women as he can afford. But the Quran limits Muslim husbands to 4 wives. Pumpuni's first 2 wives, Reina and Karasim, are preparing wedding food. They say it makes sense to bring a new woman into the family. Another wife means another set of hands to do the work.
Before taking the third wife, he informed me he wanted to take the new wife, and I told him that I agree. That is a good idea. Because I travel a lot, for example, and when I am away, who is going to prepare his food?
At nightfall, the new bride, Wasila, is brought to the center of the village. The veil will cover her face until the ceremonies are over. Other young women playfully chide her for trading the joys of youth for the married life.
You're leaving us. You're abandoning us. You are losing your freedom.
Meanwhile, the village authorities meet with the bride's and groom's families to give their formal endorsement of the marriage.
We are sent by Mr. Alibu, who wants your daughter to marry his son. Do you agree?
I agree. I give you my daughter from today to the end.
The bride's family paid a dowry months ago. This is a final symbolic exchange that formalizes the agreement. As the officials leave, the formal part of the wedding is over. Now the celebrations can begin. As Punpuni leads his wives, the entire village gathers for the wedding entertainment. It starts with traditional Takai dancing. Finally, Punpuni and his wives receive gifts of coins and they dance together, sealing the new marriage. First and second wives, Reina and Karasim, lead the bride to her house. While women sing in welcome and warn her to beware of jealousy, the new bride isn't worried.
I don't care about jealousy. I care about food and clothes. If I have money and my husband gives me what I need, I don't care about jealousy.
With 3 days of ceremony at an end, the family can begin to establish its new domestic balance, at least until Punpuni selects his next wife.
"29-year-old Maya Lama has two husbands, Luptup and his younger brother Raya Punjok Lama.
सबैले त्यस्तै गरिरहेछ हामीले पनि त्यस्तै गरौँ के गर्ने गरिब मान्छे पर्यो छुट्टाखेरि त केही पनि छैन धन सम्पत्तिहरु बनेर थोरै थोरै छ भने त्यसै राखेको बच्चाहरु धेरै भयो बच्चाहरु धेरै हुँदाखेरि एउटालाई पाल्न सक्दैन सबै गरेर त्यो बच्चाले हुर्काउँ पढाउँ भनेर हामी बहुबुद्धि बिहे गरेको
Maya's younger husband Raya Punjok's father, grandfather and great-grandfather followed the tradition.
कहिले आफै बन्तिर गयो भने दाइले घर व्यवहार चलाइहाल्नु हुन्छ कहिले दाइ यताउति गयो भने म घर व्यवहार चलाइहाल्छु
Around 150 families make up the Lama community here in the remote Bargaon village. And local authorities are here gathering information about the practice.
यहाँ कम भइरहेछ अहिले पुरानो धर्म संस्कृति नछड्ने कार्यक्रमले मात्रै अहिलेसम्म त्यति हल्का हल्का चलिरहेछ नि धेरै मुनि आएछ जस्ट बहुपति घरमा बहुपति पर्दा छन् उसको छोराछोरी र के रे श्रीमान श्रीमती र बहुपति भाइ जति छन् त्यसको हामीले उसैत फटासे राख्ने हामीले निर्णय अहिले राखे हुनाले अहिले यो मात्र बसेर सजिलो होस् भन्ने हामीले मान्यता त्यो राखेको
यो भन्ने नभन्ने कुरा सबै भन्छ आमा बुवा But the old tradition is slowly fading. Region Lama's husband does not want her to take a second husband. And as a result, he has been isolated from the community and his family.
आमा बुवा पनि हामीले भागै दिदैन खेतीपाती घरको भागै दिदैन उ सबै सुकुम्बासी
Says it was a tradition that worked in the past, but she does not want her daughters to have two husbands.
अनि चार छोरा भए पनि एक बुहारी
3 छोरा भए पनि एक बुहारी ल्याउने चलन थियो यो हिमालीको दुःखको कारणले अनि जुन छोरा बहुती भयो उसको घर धनी हुन्थ्यो सबै ल्याएपछि एक घरमा धेरै भयो नि अब कोही नहुनेको घरमा अनि गरिब हुन्थ्यो उस बेला
Maya has 3 daughters, 2 with her older husband and 1 with her younger. Maya decides which child is whose. She thinks her children will not continue the tradition.
हामी मात्र होला पछाडि त चाहदैन होला अब धेरै जस्तो गर्न छोड्यो
This is Rajneesh Bhandari reporting for Asia Calling in Humla.